I was most recently asked by a student how to explain an assign out, or what we call in our team and in our training, AO. So in other words, here's what that means if you're new to our system, and I want to make sure you get something out of this Q&A Thursday. Hi, it's Chris Prefontaine. Welcome to this Q&A Thursday where we weekly address students' questions. I don't taint them, I don't change them, I just print them out and I try to answer them the best way I can to help you guys out. So in this one, as I said, we're going to talk about how to explain an AO. Now, just to get you guys on the same channel, here's what happens. If we go and we secure a lease purchase with a seller and we stay in the middle, as some of you probably know, it's called a sandwich lease. We lease purchase from the seller, we find a rent-to-own buyer, we're in the middle, thus the sandwich, we have equitable interest, we have right to sell the property. You can get more on that training, obviously, in the QLS program. There's a whole module on just sandwich leases. There's also an entire module on just AO. But let me answer this question. So it was, how do I explain an AO? What's the simplest way? Because if you just look at the agreements, the legal documents that we've designed after tens of thousands of hours with our attorneys, it can be confusing, but if you see this first, it's very simple how you do it. Now, who would the AO be best for, by the way, without getting into multiple trainings within this one question, how to explain an AO? Well, I always tell people it's best if someone's in the real estate business, like they own multiple properties, they're a builder, they're a rehabber, they don't mind dealing with tenant buyer after you explain it, they want all the money out, there's no spread for you, and they want all the money, and there's no equity. All of these reasons would be legitimate reasons to do an AO where you're just tying up the property the same way, but you're finding your tenant buyer and then assigning that tenant buyer to your seller. Notice I said assigning that tenant buyer on a new agreement to the seller. You're not taking an assignment fee and putting that, because then they don't get credit for their down payment. You're doing a new agreement with your buyer. They're getting credit fully for their down payment. You're going to see how you get paid out of that in a minute, and then you're assigning them to your seller. Here's how you explain it to the seller. Before we had a spreadsheet, before we had all the fancy dancy things in the QLS course, this is what I did. I went with a piece of paper and I said to them, here's how it works. Here's your options. Ready? This is how simple it was. It was like this. It was, here is the AO. I didn't call it an AO with them. I just said, on this side, I'm going to stay in the deal. And on this side, on this side I'm going to stay in the deal. I'm going to guarantee that I get you to the finish line. Any headaches that come up, they're mine. However, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, on the sandwich, I'm going to keep all the principal pay down. Now, again, that's for a different training. Let's just go with the AO. And actually, I'll make it even more simple. Let's move this over so we have room. And let's do AO and sandwich same way, but I'm not going to get too carried away with the sandwich, okay? So let's say the seller said, I want $700,000. I'm just going to use round numbers, guys, because the math will get too crazy. And the deposit I'm going to use is just going to be an assumption. So let's say that, and let's say that's both sides. I want minimum $700 out of this deal. Okay, so what I'm going to do, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, is because there's no equity, or because you want to stay in the middle, or because you want to get all the principal paid down, whatever the reason is you're giving them back the buyer, I'm going to mark this property up. Let's call it $739. For the sake of easy math, $740. Okay, now, you want $700 minimum. Here's how this is going to work. You just be honest with them. Here's how this is going to work. I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to get at least a 5 to a 7% deposit. Okay? Now let's make this real easy, but this math works no matter how you do it. I'm going to go out and I'm going to try to get a $40,000 deposit from my buyer. I don't know what I'm going to get, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, so I'm going to also keep the first month payment. And I'm going to explain to you guys watching this why in a minute and how you explain that. And it's also probably in another video. But I'm going to explain that in a minute. Because, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I don't know what the deposit's going to be, and I'm going to show you how we're going to split that up, but I do know that I can bet on the first month. I can rely on the first month. So that's our fixed amount we know we're getting, and then whatever this formula works out to. Now, what is this formula? There's no set percentage that you're going to give the seller. They are going to get a down payment with this AO. They're not going to over here. Very rare for us to do it over there. So here I say to them, all right, out of this $40,000, you're going to get a third and we're going to get 2/3. Now, when I first started, I did 50-50. That was an easy explanation. It was an easy thing to I don't want to say sell them on, but it was very easy. So in this case, we've kind of tightened our numbers up a little bit. And just for easy math, let's say they're going to get 12. and we're gonna get what's left. What is that, 28? How's my math? Yeah, I think so. So, now this is pretty cool. So I say to them, look, we went to market at this, you told me you wanted this, you'd be okay with that? Yes, okay. If they paid 40, they owe you 700, right? Right, okay, great. So here you are, at the closing, they owe you 700. That's what you wanted minimum, but we're also giving you 33%. This is how it's easy to explain the 33%, because they're getting more than their net. Now you just surprised them. You're at the meeting, you're at the kitchen table, you just surprised them. They're gonna pick up $12,000 extra, they're not gonna pay a realtor $35,000, that's pretty cool. And they're gonna get principal pay down on this $700,000 mortgage, okay? Opposed to, and I don't wanna get carried away with a sandwich, but opposed to over here, you're gonna go to market at the same market number monthly, but you're gonna keep the spread between their mortgage payment and the what you're getting from your buyer. Over here, they're keeping the spread. Over here, you're keeping the principal pay down, because if you went to market at 740 and they wanted, actually a little bit different here, but if they wanted 700 and their mortgage was, I don't know, call it 500. All you're doing is, you're not saying I'm buying your house for 700. You're saying I'll get this cashed out, and my purchase price is what? My purchase price is 200 grand plus the payoff of your mortgage. That's it. Why? Because the whole way you're getting the principal pay down there. So that 500 is not going to be 500 anymore. It's going to be, I don't know, call it 480. So you're going to pay them 200 cash plus the balance left on that mortgage. Plus you're going to keep the spread every month. So just be honest with them. Because some people will ask you, well, how does this work for you? Simple. I keep the spread. I make sure you get cashed out. I deal with any headaches. Over here, you keep the spread. You keep the principal pay down. You get some down payment. But I'm out at the beginning. I want to be super clear with you, Mr. and Mrs. Seller. Now, there's a very important set of documents for AO, for the seller to sign off. Because I can tell you what happens, or what can happen, and what has happened to us. That's how I know. They get amnesia. 2 years goes by, a problem comes up, or 2 years goes by and the buyer, because they didn't follow up on the credit repair, as we would if we were in the deal, they go to Florida and they leave the house. And they call you. Whoa, 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 whoa. Remember, you wanted this option because you wanted the money, you wanted the principal pay down, and you wanted the spread. That's your deal. Here's the papers you signed. They sign it off on it like 5 times. You are out. They sign a general release for you. So that's how you explain it. I hope that's not a bunch of gobbledygook. I hope that helps you. And it was a great question that came in, because I thought through, I don't know if we did this exact presentation in the AO module, although we teach it in every way. And if we did, you got an extra one right here. So I hope you enjoyed the Q&A. I hope you enjoy it each and every Thursday. But make sure you're subscribed to the channel here, because then you're going to get every Thursday a Q&A. Every Monday a motivational Monday, and every Sunday a deal structure Sunday. Do you think, perhaps, maybe, you could pull a nugget or two out of one of these videos if you're subscribed? And if you pull just one thing out, like if this one thing helps you explain to a seller, for example, if you're in Texas and you can't stay in the middle, if this one thing helps you get a new deal, and you're in this deal, and you just picked up $28,000 and then you're out, I think it's worth your time camping out in these videos. I think it's worth your time to immerse yourself in our yearly QLS live event. By the way, it's free when you buy QLS version 2.0 or higher, and that's the one that's out right now. No brainer. I'd love to see you at the event. Make sure you're also subscribed to the podcast, smartrealestatecoachpodcast.com. See you next week. Hey, I really appreciate you watching these Q&A videos. I hope you find them helpful. I want to help you even further though. I want you to personally go ahead and leave your most burning 1, 2, or 3 questions on the comment section below. Go ahead and do that now. I'll go ahead and answer your questions live on a video. I promise you. We'll get that done for you in the next few months. Could be days, but watch for it and we'll address your questions. And by the way, how would you like it if you could ask those live questions every single week to one of our team members privately? How would you like to, in addition to that, ask our entire group of associates those live questions every single week? You can do that. Just become an associate by applying on the link below. We'll see if it's a fit for you. We'll see if your area is still open, and perhaps we can be working one-on-one together. That would be pretty cool. Be sure to subscribe below as well so you don't miss any of these Q&A videos. Doesn't take many, guys. Remember the old saying, small hinges open big doors. One idea, one deal this year can be an absolute game changer for you. if you apply below now, and we'll have that live conversation. Oh, by the way, don't forget to subscribe below. You're gonna wanna not miss any of these videos. Go ahead and subscribe so you don't do that, and I look forward to seeing you on future videos if you wanna keep on these Q&As.